Hey guys, Mike Healy here. Listen, I had a lot of requests about the recording, if I had it recorded, which I do, of the training I did on Saturday about how to recruit. This is all basically the secrets, the insider tips, and the 5-step process of exactly how I've recruited so many people so quickly. So go ahead and take a listen. This is the call as it happened, and enjoy. I think that's all for housekeeping, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. This is a training call. And obviously we get excited and we do everything, we get fired up, we just tell stories and so on. But I'm going to give you right now some training information. Okay, now let me slow down as I get all excited about this, and sometimes I talk too fast. Make sure you have a pen and paper handy, because this is going to, if you'll follow this methodology and this recipe, you literally cannot fail in the business. I mean, I almost could guarantee you that, okay? Now understand, I have, and I'm going to give it to you straight up, of this is stuff that I do, have done, experienced it, and it has created a very big income for me and my family over years and years and years, okay? And it's the same formula I have followed regardless of what I have done or been a part of, okay? There is a method to my madness, okay? And this is going to help you to quantify it, because I know that sometimes when a person joins or they become part of a networking, or you may not be, you're maybe new to it. And these principles and these steps I'm about to give you can go to either customers, you can have a customer-centric focus or a prospecting focus. But I typically lean towards heavy recruiting, and I will tell you why. I don't have a lot of personal friends that really would get my foot in the door to any big commercial accounts. But I really, really would like the idea of getting paid on, millions and millions of dollars worth of billing of these accounts, because that creates a lifestyle, right? Well, what happens here is this, is if you don't have that, you've got to figure out a way to still capitalize on it. What I realized years ago, and it was taught to me, and I read it in some books, and it just went off on me like, nobody's business, that the only way to create wealth is through growth and leverage. Either, you have to be positioned for growth. Most importantly, leveraging it allows the growth, and it's either money at work or people at work. Okay, and I've said this, and I say this in my, when I give presentations. If I told you had to dig a ditch 10 feet deep, 100 feet long, and I'd pay you $100,000 a year, no matter what, I don't care how that ditch got dug. That is not the point. The point is if you do it, you're going to get paid. You can go out and do it by yourself. You can use a spoon. You could use a shovel. You could rent a backhoe. You could find 50 people and give them spoons. You could find 50 people and give them backhoes. I don't care. As long as it gets dug, you get paid, okay? Well, obviously, if you've got some sense, which I would imagine you do, it comes down to numbers, okay? The reason a lot of people become so wealthy so quickly in networking is building teams. Now, here's the thing, is a lot of people are intimidated to build teams, or back to, you don't build teams without starting to recruit. I learned that I could make up what I lacked in skill, I could make up in numbers, okay? And I also learned that the number one skill to have is recruiting and presenting, basically, okay? And this isn't about how to give a presentation. This is the process. So if you've got your pen handy, get your paper and get your pen sharpened, because here we go. I guess you don't sharpen pens, do you? You sharpen pencils, but I'll prove to you by the time I'm done here that if Healy can do it, you guys can do it. Okay, here's my 5 steps, and I'm gonna break each one down, but I want you to write these down. The first one is prospect. Okay, then number 2 you're going to write down is contact. 3 is present. 4 is follow-up. And 5 is repeat. This is right here, prospect, contact, present, follow-up, and repeat, is the absolute cornerstone, backbone, foundation of everything I've done. I have, in every of the last few companies I've been in, I have never not been the top recruiter, or at least in the top 5 of personal recruitments, okay? And I think I just, 2 days ago, became the #1 personal enroller, okay? I'm not positive on that, but it's, I put my 60th personal in already in 9 months. And it's not by accident. I'm not pulling over teams. This is anybody can apply what I'm about to teach you, okay? And that's why you're going to get excited about it, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to break down these steps. This isn't going to take long because it's not hard what I'm going to teach you. It's very easy. And the secret to network marketing is there's a law out there that I think that I heard it best from Randy Gage. He said, the secret to network marketing is getting a large group of people to do a few simple tasks over a sustained period of time, okay? These are the tasks 1 through 5, and I'm going to go through and break these steps down. Now, prospect. This is the number one thing right here, because what prospecting means is generating a lead, okay? Most people can follow a system of presentation. That's not an issue. But where a lot of people falter is in building a list. How do you get more people to talk to? You ever see people, well, that's one of the biggest questions I always get. Now, here's what I will tell you. Never edit your list. Always have a minimum of 100 people on your list. And when I say don't edit it, I always put down friends and family. I know people say, well, I've already pitched my friends and family. I don't care, okay? I've pitched my friends and family multiple times too, and some of them said no on some things and said yes on another thing. You can't control whether they say yes or no. You can only control if you make a contact, okay? And this is stuff that's proven. I mean, I've won recruiting bonuses for it, like in the hundreds of thousands of dollars over the periods, launched my entire teams, my entire career because of these steps, okay? Now, when I prospect, here's what I'm doing. I'm just looking to write down lists of names without identifying whether I believe they're going to do it or not. That has nothing to do with it. This is all about them, okay? Because you don't know what somebody's going through at their moment, okay? So don't edit your list. And also, you have to understand that at some point you will get better at what you're comfortable with in generating a lead. I've got friends that all they do is they'll go and they'll Google other network marketing companies and search out the top leaders and call them, okay? And they've done that for years. I've got other people that strictly all they do is they talk to their warm market because maybe they're part of a big organization or church or community or they're in school or whatever it might be. I've got people that run ads. It's regardless of all those things, you just have to build a list and you continually add to the list. Because if you edit your list, you edit your success. If you minimize the amount of people, then you really are not giving yourself a fair shake at doing this. I understood that the law of large numbers would always win for me. If you just keep, if I said I'll pay you $1 million, if you flip a quarter and it comes up heads 10 times in a row, well, if you can only flip the quarter 20 times, you have no belief that it's going to happen. But if I said, I don't care how long you do it, eventually you probably would, flip it no matter how it works. Okay. So next step. Okay. So you're going to build your list. You get your prospects. Next step is contact. Here's really important about contacting. And this is what gets intimidating for people because this is where the rubber meets the road. You got a list of 100 or 1,000 people on your thing. A lot of them are good quality people. Here's where most of the fear comes in. The fear comes in because you think, or you've been conditioned to think that you have to be some kind of expert. And here's what I finally realized that set me free, okay, was that I learned to consistently be the messenger, not the message. The messenger, not the message. Yes, I can answer questions, but I typically don't answer a lot of questions. I'm always directing people to places they can get the information because people are only going to join you if they believe that they can do what you just did, okay? So always remember that. Let me stay on task here. Contact. Here's what I always do. When I'm making a contact with somebody, I've got a list of names. And what I usually do is I set down a certain amount of time that I'm going to do this. In fact, I'll give you the perfect example of when I was doing a company. It was a nutritional company, which is very hard to sell in this economy. And I blew the business up. The company put me on on their cover of their magazines, the whole 9 yards. And all I did was I sat on a stationary bike, a little exercise bike, and I made little phone calls here and there, and I put slash marks every time I contacted somebody. Here's what I did. I would call somebody at the contact, and I asked them permission. Remember that phrase. I asked for permission to share info with them. I asked permission to share info with them, and here's what I said. I would call somebody up, and I'll use Dan as an example on here. Okay, I know Dan's on here, but I called Dan up, and Dan, you don't have to answer anything. I know you might not be on the moderator, but I'd say, hey, ring, ring, and the phone would ring, and he'd answer. I'd say, hey, Dan, this is Mike Healy. You remember me? Oh, yeah, hey, Mike, yeah, we go to church, whatever. Hey, I'd say, listen, I know you're busy, and I'm not going to take up any of your time right now, but do you mind if I send you an email? Do you mind if I send you an email? Nobody has ever said no to me. I think maybe, okay, I take that back. I think one person, after years and years and years of thousands of contacts like this, only one person's ever said no, okay? And I laughed, I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember the guy's name because it was amazing. But everybody says yes. And here's what I did. This is real significant. Is I asked permission because you have to understand that you've got to get through the clutter of what everybody's pitched with day in and day out. There is noise everywhere. But by me making a personal contact of asking permission to share some information, I'm becoming the messenger only at this point. Now what happens is he's going to say, well, sure, Mike, what is it? That's a big question. Here's where you've got to learn to be quiet. Is I never tell anybody what I'm doing. I say, well, if I explained it all, it'd be like giving you a haircut over the phone. I do say that phrase. I kid you not. Everybody chuckles. I'm always making the phone call, the quick phone call I'm doing, a quick experience. I'd say, hey, it's like, hey, Dan, it's like giving a haircut over the phone. But I'm pretty excited about a business they just somebody shared with me. And with this, it's a little different because what we've got with commercial energy is not only sexy, but it's got it's not only got sizzle, but it's got steak, right? So you could say, well, I'm involved in a company that's paying a lot of money on referrals for commercial energy, or not. It doesn't matter. Okay, that's not the point. Okay, the point is I took a prospect, a lead. I made contact quickly with them. And I got off the phone quick. Here's the key, okay? Dan, can I send you an email? Sure. What is it? I don't have time. It'd be like giving you a haircut over the phone. Listen, Dan, I know you're busy. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. What's your number? Or is this your email address? Blah, blah, blah. And I write it down. I say, well, I'll send this to you. Be on the lookout for it. And I appreciate it. And have a great one. Click. I am on and off the phone in less than 20 seconds. I can do that on a stationary bike. I can do that in the car on the way to the gym. I can do that in all little gaps of time that I have, right? What happens then is in the email or text, this day and age, because this is when I designed this program. I did it when it was only emails out there. Now I'm a texter, obviously. You can ask permission to send them a text, or you can ask permission to send them an email. I do both primarily, okay? Because I want to get it in front of them. The next step was step 3 is present. Again, you're not the issue. The message is done by the tools. So in the email, it would say something like this. Dan, I really appreciate you letting me send this to you. Thanks again. Do me a favor and listen to this quick recorded call when you're in the car on the way to work. It'll only take you a few minutes. We've got guys that are making some serious money with this, or ladies, or whatever. Really appreciate it. And if that makes sense, watch this short video right here. And I have an active link. I put the http://www.brokertestimonies.com. Those 2 items are the only thing that I send out. Okay? So I got Dan on my list. I made a quick phone call, asked permission to send it to him. I let the tool do the presentation. Number 4 is follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. Here's the best part of follow-up. Is understand this. You cannot control whether someone says yes or no to the opportunity. The tools are good enough that they do a very good explanation of taking you out of the equation. So regardless if you have a big check or not, or if you've been in the business a half an hour, they're still going to listen to the content. You were excited about it. You didn't waste their time. So when my follow-up time comes, which is typically within 24 to 48 hours, I will now call Dan back. Ring, ring, phone answers. Hey, Dan, it's Healy again. What's up? And I don't sound professional. I don't call my friend and say, this is Mike Healy. I don't say anything like that. I'm not goofy. Okay. I say, Dan, this is Healy. What's going on? Oh, hey, Mike, what? I say, hey, listen, write this down. Is now a good time? Is now a good time. Now, here's the thing. If you wonder why people may not be answering your phone when caller ID kicks up, is because you wasted their time on the first call when they were busy and you tried to pitch them. Or you've badgered them and begged them to try to listen to you, okay? You're not following the process properly. No one ever does not answer my phone calls on the follow-up because the first initial experience was very quick. I went through it quick. I made some bullet points. I was excited when I called him. I said, Dan, I got to send you this email. I didn't want to just blast it out there because it's going to be, noise to everything else out there. He's expecting it. He's excited to see what the heck I was so fired up about without giving him in detail, right? Okay. So now when I follow up, here's what I do. This is very simple. Follow up is a piece of cake if you do it properly. I call him up. I say, Dan, is it now a good time? He says, yes. I say, Dan, here's my first question. Did you have a chance to listen to the call or watch the video or both? If he says, no, I'm done with my call, I say, well, now wouldn't be a good time then for us to cover any of this. You should really take the time, and he goes, well, just give me a little, nope, not going to do it, okay? I get off the phone. Now, let's say the majority of people actually do say yes, which is good. And he says, yeah, I did have a chance to watch it. Here's your phrase. You ready? Write this down. What did you like best? Very simple. What did you like best? Understand this, that if you're talking about commercial energy and the thing he was fired up was how how customer acquisition was done or whatever, you got to find out what the prospect is interested in. The prospect will dictate where you go next. This is important, okay? So you don't have to do any heavy lifting here. That's what makes this so simple. Is I listen to what Dan says. Dan, what did you like best? And when Dan starts saying, you know what, when I heard the conference call, I started thinking of my cousin, my brother, my uncle. They're all partnered up in the team to go commercial energy. Oh my gosh, you're kidding. And then boom, boom, boom. And all I do is sit there and listen. What is a person's favorite topic? Who do they like to talk about the most? Themselves. Who likes to talk the most? Themselves. If you learn to be a good listener and just ask a few simple questions, you will have people falling out of the woodwork to join you because they'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. You can ask them exactly the questions and they'll tell you exactly where you lead them to next. A lot of people make this too hard. Okay, so now when Dan says that, Dan will then tell me what step he needs to, where I need to go now. He might say, well, how does the CAP division work, right? Well, you can send him to the presentation and he can watch it again in the back. Maybe he only watched a couple of the testimonies. You could say, well, you should watch this video. Well, what states are we in? Well, if you go to this website right here, you can download the states and stuff. I am always directing people to the information because they can do the same thing. If they can do the same thing, they can experience the same success that I'm having if they follow the pattern. Okay, which leads me to the last one. The fifth one is repeat. This is not rocket science. All we're doing is taking the law of large numbers, swinging the bat as many times as we can, teaching people to be consistent. And if you become consistent and you set the example, you can sponsor unlimited amount of people. The reason I have no problem, and some of the best networkers have no problem whatsoever believing they're going to make $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 a month, is because they've honed in on these 5 steps, acquired the skills to learn how to be good listeners, being good messengers in not just the message themselves, not taking it upon themselves. And by doing that and repeating those numbers over and over and over again, you cannot fail. Here's what you have to understand. If this getting paid on commercial energy made sense to you, you can obviously assume it's going to make sense to a lot of other people. I mean, and you're a smart. Everybody's a smart person on the call here, and if you think about that, if it makes sense to you, it's going to make sense to a lot of other people. You just have to quickly weed through them. So what happens with me, and I'm going to wind this down. I know I compressed a lot of this into a short period of time, but the 5 steps has been the backbone of exactly what I've done for years. This is exactly how I launched this business from scratch. There was no team. I didn't bring anybody over. I actually still get a check from another company, okay? Because I did this tactfully. I did it without blasting it out on Facebook. I didn't promote myself for months. Nobody even knew what I was doing, okay? But this concept has always worked. I would call people, ask permission to send them an email. we put a system together that does the work, the recorded call, the 3 steps, and then I followed up with them, typically after step 1 and 2, to follow up and see if they need more information, which I'd let them watch. And really then it's just becoming their friend, answering a few questions and teaching people to repeat the pattern. And if you continually repeat the pattern, you will have success. You'll sponsor more people than you know what to do with. And if you just teach them the same thing of keeping it simple, not becoming the message yourself, but becoming the messenger, get very good at that, and it will just absolutely explode. The reason the meetings that we do, a lot of the presentation meetings we do at hotels are so successful is because the people have, even unknowingly, have done this system. They might not even realize they're doing it, is they've gotten people to view information first, listen to the recorded call, watch broker testimonies, so that when they're in a hotel room, it's not the first exposure. It wasn't, trying to drink, they might have been thirsty and they weren't trying to drink out of a fire hydrant. They were just basically, they were there to now get all the info because they had a full understanding of what was going on. Okay. Now I just wanted to share this with you because I'm telling you with everything in me that where this company is positioned and where you're at, you're about to see the tipping point happen in probably less than 6 months. Okay. And here's why I will predict this. Okay. I've been in companies at the right place at the right time myself. Okay. What's happening now is we're starting to get even more and more of what we call a preponderance of proof of people that anybody can recruit and make recruiting bonuses. Okay. And those are great, by the way, but people that are closing more and more and more and more commercial accounts and decent size and big ones. Okay. Some people are, submitting accounts that'll make them $500 a month and $5,000 a month. Okay. That is unheard of in this industry. In the network marketing industry, that is absolutely unheard of. And everybody has bought into the network marketing concept, and the majority of them are loyal to their company because they like the community and the potential to make some money. But none of them have what we have. That is a fact. Okay, we are so far apart from everyone else, it's not even close. Okay, what you're going to see is that if you bust your butt, I don't know how else to put it to you, but if you put on the big boy pants and you get out there, you get down and dirty, and you get your 5 steps organized, you set aside specific times that you're going to make your 5 or 10 contacts a day or whatever it might be, and you can see with that simple process, you can make those presentations quick. You can go through them really, really quick. And what happens is by doing that, you'll work the numbers faster than anybody has possibly seen them. I'm clicking my fingers, by the way. That's what, if you heard that noise. I think I'm in front of a crowd right now, which I am. But it's but the tipping point. What will happen is you in the beginning will do all the work yourself. This is the hardest thing mentally to endure till you get your tipping point of your business. Okay, you in the beginning are the show. You've got to recruit the people. You got to get it launched. A space shuttle, when it takes off, and all of you have probably seen it happen, uses 80% of all its fuel in the first 2 minutes of launch. When do you think is the most critical time to put all the time and effort into your networking business? When you're ready and raring to go and you've made the decision to blow the thing up, right? So what I do is I recruit, take a quick breath, recruit, keep going, because I can't tell the duds from the studs. And by doing that, I always have a handful of people that go, hey, I'm going to do it part-time. Some of them say, this is, it's more than what I thought it was. And I have a handful also that go, oh my gosh, this is what I've been praying about. This is going to make my dreams come true. Get out of my way. And they crush it. Okay? You don't know who those people are, but if you recruit, you increase your odds of those people. And eventually what happens, you're on the bottom, and if you looked at you've seen those trend lines that go kind of like even that one slide, I think it's the 3rd or 4th slide from the end in the presentation where it's, it shows growth or critical mass right there. You at first are doing all the work in the beginning, but eventually when your team starts to grow, 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, you get a team of 100 people, you'll start to have more and more people coming in that you have no idea who they are, where they came from, never heard of them. And they just start exploding the business because it's the law of large numbers and duplication. And pretty soon you're going to be getting a check that will scare the kids, scare the neighbors. I mean, I'm talking fun kind of money. And that's where a lot of you guys sit right now. So I think I'm all fired up this morning. I had a great day yesterday. It was my birthday. I turned 45. I feel great. I got great kids, great family. I've got great business partners. All you guys I consider family. I'm just a normal dad is all I am, that just has an above average aggression towards success and driven. And I want to see people do it because I've been there. I know I know the issues. I know the fears. I've experienced them all times 10. And I'm telling you, there's not one person that's hearing my voice right now that can't go out there and just kick this thing in the butt and make more money than you can spend. And you guys are going to be, a lot of you guys I know, I've become to know personally, you guys are going to be huge blessings to people. I'm talking, some of you have told me about, families you want to help, organizations you want to donate to, churches you want to pay off. I'm there, buddy. I'm with you all the way, and it is going to rock and roll. So I'm going to unmute the lines because I am done rolling because I am just